danke, dass ihr aufgestanden seid, schon so früh. Gestern waren noch einige an der Bar, das war wieder cool. Und Tackling the Monarchs Way. Als ich vor 2 Jahren wieder zurückgekommen bin, habe ich mit Martin gesprochen über die Convention hier. Wir haben uns hier getroffen, habe gesagt, hey, Tackling ist immer was man sicher besprechen sollte, vor allem von der Defensive Side. Und habe gesagt, ja, irgendwann können wir mal sicher auch was bei der Convention machen. Und dann hatte ich das Glück, dass ich 2017, als ich wieder zurückkam nach Deutschland, bei der deutschen Nationalmannschaft als Special Teams Coordinator mitmachen durfte. Und waren bei den World Games in Warschau und dann in Breslau. Und das Tolle war, dass ich das erste Mal seit langer Zeit eigentlich mal wieder nur Special Teams Coordinator und nicht irgendwie Position Coach oder sowas war und konnte bei vielen Drills einfach zuschauen. Und musste auch schauen, ich bin wieder zurück nach Deutschland gekommen, kannte eigentlich gar keinen Spieler, wen kann ich denn überhaupt für was einsetzen in Special Teams? Und habe mir Drills angeschaut und war natürlich auch ziemlich viel bei der Defensive Side, weil die meisten Defensive-Spieler müssen dann natürlich auch bei Special Teams spielen. Und habe Tackling Drills mir mit angeschaut. Und das Interessante war dann wirklich, dass ich gesehen habe, war ein Drill, ist rausgestochen für mich, das war ein Sideline Tackling Drill, so wie jeder den macht wahrscheinlich. Und die Hälfte der Spieler waren ja alles schon Spieler, die schon lange spielen, sonst wären sie nicht bei der Nationalmannschaft gewesen. Die Hälfte der Spieler bringen Kopf davor, Kopf davor, Kopf davor. Good old coaching points, get your head across, get your head across, get your head across. Und dann sieht man ein paar Spieler von anderen Teams, die auf einmal Shoulder Rugby Tackling machen. Und die Spieler unterhalten sich dann und gibt gewisse Coaching Points und das alles und die Spieler unterhalten sich und manche Spieler sagen, hey, so machen wir das eigentlich gar nicht mehr, wir machen das anders und kommen Diskussionen zwischendurch auf, unterhalten sich mit Tackling und was so gemacht wird in verschiedenen Vereinen und wie das beigebracht wird und wie viel im Training getackelt wird und so. Und da habe ich mir gedacht, bei uns in Platteville oder auch in den USA das ist jetzt 7 Jahre schon her, kam auf einmal auf Rugby Shoulder Tackling. Seattle Seahawks, das Video hat wahrscheinlich schon so gut wie jeder, hoffentlich so gut wie jeder, mindestens 20, 30 Mal sich angeschaut. Aber und das war ganz wichtig für uns in den USA, dass wir umsteigen mussten von Get Your Head Across, Hit with your head, make sure you put your head right through him. Die ganzen Terms, die wir vorher benutzt haben sozusagen, waren auf einmal klar, so können wir das nicht machen. Das war auch eigentlich ziemlich klar, dass man allein aus dem Legal Aspekt nicht mehr das coachen konnte, sondern das ändern musste, weil in den USA ist öfters natürlich das Problem, dass du gesucht werden kannst, wenn du irgendwie was falsch beibringst oder so. Und dann zum Schutz von uns selber haben wir als Defensive Staff uns mal überlegt, haben uns Videos angeschaut, wie wollen wir tackeln, was machen wir, haben darauf alles umgestellt auf Hard Tackling, Rugby Tackling, Shoulder Tackling, wie auch immer man das nennen will, Leverage Tackling und haben gemerkt, wir haben sicher sehr, sehr viel schon gemacht, aber gewisse Dinge haben wir eben doch geändert. Am Anfang haben wir auch gesagt, das wird schwer werden. Können wir überhaupt so tackeln? Klappt das überhaupt? Können wir den Runner überhaupt stoppen? Und genau dieselben Argumentationen habe ich dann wieder gehört in Deutschland, als ich zurückkam bei gewissen Teams und auch bei Lehrgängen war, bei Trainerlehrgängen, wo Leute gesagt haben, naja, das könnt ihr vielleicht im College machen, aber bei mir in der Jugend kann ich das nicht machen, die können das einfach nicht. Und für mich ist es eigentlich ganz, ganz wichtig, dass ich als allererstes beim Tackling den Schutz von meinem Defensive Player als Vorrang habe. Weil wenn mein Defensive Player schlecht tackelt und sich deshalb verletzt, ist er nicht mehr auf dem Feld. Und wenn das mein bester Defensive Player ist, dann bin ich ein schlechteres Team, bin ich ein schlechterer Coach, weil mein bester Spieler nicht mehr dabei ist. Also es ist für mich ganz einfach Selbstschutz, weil ich meine besten Spieler auf dem Feld haben will. Außerdem denke ich, dass unsere größte Aufgabe als Coach meines Erachtens der Schutz des Spielers ist. Uns muss immer bewusst sein, der Spieler, die Gesundheit von dem Spieler muss bei uns an oberster Stelle sein. Und da bin ich zum Teil auch sehr kontrovers mit manchen Leuten umgegangen. Ich habe gesagt, nee, das was du machst ist nicht im besten Interesse vom Spieler. Du musst dich ändern zum Teil. Und was dann toll war in Dresden, Dresden hat das eigentlich auch schon gemacht, bevor ich gekommen bin, aber wir haben da wirklich nochmal drüber gesprochen und haben das eingeführt und haben auch gezeigt, auch in Dresden, dass das auch U17-Spieler können. Weil wenn Rugby-Spieler tackeln können, es gibt ja auch Kinder, die Rugby spielen, die können tackeln, warum können das dann Footballspieler nicht? Die Argumentation habe ich nie verstanden von Footballcoaches, die gesagt haben, nee, also unsere Spieler können das nicht. Ja, dann könnten sie, Rugby-Spieler können das, dann kann man das auf jeden Fall lernen. Darum geht es eigentlich heute bei dem Vortrag, um Schutz des Spielers, verschiedene Formen vom Tackling und auch zum Schluss sprechen wir auch noch über Drills und das ist auch Q&A, aber Q&A fällt glaube ich weg, das müssen wir schauen, wie viele Drills wir kommen werden. Und was wir machen eben bei den Monarchs, wie viel wir tackeln, wie wenig wir tackeln im Training, war dann bei uns auch in Platteville, sind wir natürlich irgendwann mal umgestiegen, no live tackling, einfach ging darum und da war die alte Weisheit von den Defensive Coaches, wenn wir im Training nicht tackeln, dann können wir im Spiel nicht tackeln. Das Problem war aber allerdings, wenn wir im Training tackeln, wir hatten einen Running Back, war unser bester Running Back, der hat pro Spiel etwa 30 Mal den Ball bekommen, das heißt 30 Hits kriegt er. Der ist aber normalerweise war so, dass er beim Second oder Third Contact ist runtergegangen ist, also waren das dann schon mal 90 Hits pro Spiel. Dann die Hits, wo auf dem Boden gefallen sind, dann waren es 120 Hits. Und dann, wenn man das über die ganze Saison überrechnet, waren das 1200 Hits, die er bekommen hat. Wenn wir im Training jetzt, hätte er nochmal im Training etwa 10 bis 15 Hits gekriegt, sagen wir 10, das ist leichter zu rechnen. Ja, allein in der Preseason mit 24 Tackles sind es 240 Hits, dann über 10 Wochen, dreimal die Woche mit Tackling im Training, sind nochmal 30 bis 60, über 10 Wochen sind nochmal 600. Wir sind bei über 2.000 bis 3.000 Hits, die ein Spieler nehmen muss, wenn man live tackelt und auf den Boden kommt. Und dann ist die Frage, ist er in den Playoffs immer noch so productive, wie er am Anfang der Saison ist? Und wann muss er denn productive sein? Auf dem Weg zu den Playoffs, aber vor allem in den Playoffs. Und das sind alles gewisse Gedankengänge, die wir gemacht haben, wo wir gesagt haben, wir müssen eben Tackling so strukturieren, dass wir tackeln können, aber nicht Leute verletzen und auch trotzdem weiterhin fit bleiben können für den Rest der Saison. And I think now, unfortunately, I got to switch to English because this is way easier in English for me. So tackling for us, if you're in our defense, you have to be able to tackle. We got some cover corners, we got some deep safeties, we talked about that yesterday, but you have to tackle. I mean, football is a game of hitting and tackling. It doesn't matter what you're doing. And you have to be able to tackle in the box, and you got to be able to tackle in space. And we looked at how many box tackles we have, we looked at how many space tackles we have, especially depending on what players do those, and that's what we look for on Self-Scout. What kind of tackling drills do they need to do? We do some tackling circuits where everybody does everything, but we'll always modify some of the things for the defensive linemen because they probably won't have a big open space tackle or something like that. So let's rather constrict the area and work on those tackling drills for those guys so they can learn the specifics of the tackles that they have to do. Most tackles, however, are in open space, are open field tackles. For those, we have to break them down into approach and finish. We just listened to David, did a great job talking about shimmy, getting in position, and so forth on tackling, especially if you're talking kickoff team or in space. That's what we talk about a lot. When we talk approach, we talk a lot about getting to the runner, and we talk about reducing space between you and the ball carrier. Understand angles and leverage. Big important thing. And when we say reduce space, we don't say slow down when you get close to him or something. We want to get as fast as we can to the runner. And in the end, we want to get to a shimmy position. But we want to get, and that's the thing with a lot of young players, that they want to slow down too early to keep their leverage. And it's really important for us that we stress getting to the runner to reduce space, because if You reduce space, it's a lot easier to make a tackle in the 3-yard box compared to a 5 or 6-yard box. And that's the thing that the young guys will have to learn. We talk about pressing the hip. We always talk near hip, near shoulder. Near foot comes in as well, but it's always the leverage point that we're talking about near hip. That never changes. It doesn't matter where you come from, and that makes it very easy for us that we talk about that. That you will always have a near hip. And your head, your shoulder should always be on that side. So that makes it a very easy talking about that. Talking shimmy meaning coming not to a stop, not to a breakdown, but working forward, working with speed, controlled speed, towards the ball carrier under control with near foot forward. Always near foot forward, so in a shimmy position, if the runner's coming at me to my right shoulder, your side left shoulder, coming forward, we always want to be in a shimmy position where we're coming downhill with near foot, near shoulder forward, because when we make contact, we want to be near foot, near shoulder. And if he then escapes, now we can bring the second foot. We talk a lot about, and you see that in film, if you bring the wrong foot forward, yes, you might be able to get a tackle in here, but it's not a very productive tackle because you don't have any power through the tackle, and especially on any cutback, you can't react back on that. So that's important for us when we're talking about just position and approach. When we talk about the finish, we talk a lot about shoulder profile tackles. We want to make contact with the shoulder. We will never really, and I had to change my vocabulary. We don't want to talk about put your head on the ball. We don't say that anymore. We try to keep all the vocabulary out of tackling that involves the head. So we talk a lot about shoulder and footwork. That's the most important thing for us. We talk sometimes bite the ball. I haven't really used that term at all anymore because we just don't do that, really. And then we say squeeze and drive, squeeze and drive. For a lot of German players, we got issues that they don't understand. Squeezing, they just want to hold on to something, compared to the hawk tackle where you really want to squeeze the thighs of the runner, because it's really hard to run if somebody's squeezing your thighs and you can't move your legs forward anymore. Especially against some of the power runners. Just think about Braunschweig with their running back. Good luck just holding on to him. You better get low, squeeze, drive, and try to not get run over too bad. And we'll also talk about sweep the ankle in certain situations if we have to, but it has to be, no matter what we do, it has to be aggressive, it has to be physical, and we want to be violent. We want the runner to get up and not want to get tackled again. And that's the bottom line for us. It's still a violent sport. And if you don't like that, then you probably can't play football. Near leg, near shoulder. For us, near leg, near shoulder was very easy to implement at Platteville, very easy at Dresden to implement that. Leg closest to the ball carrier, drive through the lower half of the ball carrier. We always stress that, and you don't really have to talk a lot about that. The thing is that we talk a lot, though, about is eventually a tackle, a lot of times it's, imagine you're doing a one-legged squat. If I'm down here, if I'm on one leg, this is the power that I want to get into. And that's where we're talking near leg, near shoulder. Because if we're right here, and I'm saying, hey, do a one-legged squat on your right foot, on your near foot, with your foot back there, that's impossible. You can't do that. Do a one-legged squat with your foot way out here. That's impossible. You can't do that. So everything is within your cylinder, within your framework, underneath yourself, that you can get through the ball carrier. And again, talked about that a little earlier, you always bring a near foot, near shoulder. Now on any cutback, you can bring the other foot. Now you're squared up, and now it's just like a clean, like a squat or something like that, working through the ball carrier. And that's the thing, though, that when the runner, we don't want to get our helmet involved or our head involved or anything. If the runner cuts back, yes, there will be contact with the head. You have to, because he's running right into you. But we're initiating contact with near foot, near shoulder. Key point for us. So looking at a little bit of film here, looking at You see number 6 here, looking at same foot, same shoulder. Here, bringing his right foot down, driving through him. Could have brought the right foot down a little quicker, I think, but working near foot, near shoulder, driving through him and driving him back. That's what we're looking for. Next tackle right here on the outside, same thing, same foot, same shoulder. Having, in this scenario, the right foot forward, right shoulder forward. Head is on the outside. Could have brought his foot a little more underneath himself, but driving through the tackle here, he's going to knee, should drive a little more through the tackle. But that's the point of bringing that same foot, same shoulder forward, so you can, your momentum will carry you through the tackle. We got one more right here. This here's the one where we'll shimmy to the tackle, but you'll see the tackle eventually happens with the wrong foot forward, right? Wrong shimmy here. This should be a left foot shimmy, should be near leg, near shoulder. I'm on his inside, so I need to shimmy with my outside foot here. He's cutting up on this one here. He doesn't get the proper foot forward, so now he just has to roll through the tackle. He has to roll through the tackle, doesn't have any power, and the runner's falling forward. That's not what we want. Those are the hidden yards. That's an extra 1 or 2 yards that we don't want. So instead of a 2nd and 5, we're at a 2nd and 4, 2nd and 3 in that scenario. Now the types of tackle that we talk about. We talk a lot about hawk tackle. Hawk tackle happens a lot in smaller constricted areas, sometimes in space, working through the shoulder, working on an angle. Profile tackle is the phone booth tackle, a lot of times chest up. That's still no contact with the helmet, working chest up, working through a guy. Compression tackle is the one where 2 guys are coming at each other. Roll tackle, you're rolling around the guy, and I'll talk about those here in a second. So, looking at hawk tackle. Hawk tackle is probably, like I said, you've seen the video, near foot, near shoulder, aiming point shoulder through the hips, eyes on the thighs, drive and squeeze for 5 yards. That's the hawk tackle. Keeping the head out of the game, keeping the head out of the tackle in this scenario. Coming right here, this is actually one of our linebackers right here, going same foot, same shoulder, lowering the strike zone right here, same foot, same shoulders, should get a little lower, but now squeeze and drive, working on the drive, working upfield, shoulder tackle on the running back. Next one here, this is AJ Wentland coming through on this one here. Same foot, same shoulder, you can see that, eyes on the thighs, contact on the hips of the runner, working to squeeze, not getting his right arm, outside arm around him perfectly, but working to squeeze, getting the runner down. That's a hawk tackle for us. Got another one here, right here, on the quarterback. This kid is a young kid, just his 2nd year in the GFL, or actually first full year in the GFL. A little hesitant at times. Initially, I think he's going to get a lot better. Very excited about him. I'm working a lot on lower body strength, because knowing that, for us, it's going to be a lot of low tackles, lower body strength. That's so crucial for our guys who's working hard in the weight room. But a technician, very strong technician, so very excited about him when he's coming in. You see that he's working on getting low, keeping his head up, still driving through, holding on to him, and if he gets a little stronger, the runner will fall back on that one here, and making sure that you keep your head up on that tackle. I think this is this flow again? Yeah, now coming from the inside right here, with an angle right there, you see contact on the hip, head's not across. In the old school would have said bad tackle, you got to get your head across so you can drive him back. But the issue, well, we'll talk about that on compression tackle, working through the hip, squeezing the thighs, and making the guy fall backwards. And here you can see, also in the past we would have said, well, we can never stop his momentum, he's just going to carry with. We're still proving that we can make tackles if we come with proper leverage angle, get our feet underneath ourselves, and make stops for 0-yard gains. Profile tackle is the tackle where we're going to chest up. Really want to work chest to chest. A lot of times we're not coming straight chest to chest, but it's still at an angle that your head's not going helmet to helmet, but you're coming at an angle. But it also depends on the size of the gap. I mean, let's face it. If they're running ISO straight down your throat, and you get about a 1 yard gap and the runner's going down, you will hit him straight up. There's no such thing as an angle. It's just back to basics, and you got to drive him back on that. Profile tackles, we found that most of the profile tackles that we do will happen in the box. Most of the profile tackles will happen with the D linemen and the linebackers. So that's the group that will practice profile tackles with most. Our corners don't do a lot of profile tackles. Our safeties sometimes, if we spin them in the box, so we won't work as much on profile tackles with those guys right here. This D lineman right here coming through, chesting up the quarterback. In this situation, we also want to tackle higher because we want to tackle the ball. I'll get into that in a little bit too. We want to tackle the ball. If we just tackle the legs here right now, the quarterback still has a chance to get rid of the ball. And we're also at risk for a penalty on a quarterback if we're just getting really low. So that's why we want to tackle higher in this situation, getting the guy down on that. There's another profile tackle coming up right here in space. All right, working also trying to get to the ball. That's where a profile tackle also helps you right here. But he's not getting his helmet involved with the tackle. He's not running through the back of the receiver, putting his helmet, the face mask. A lot of times in the past we would have said, just put your face mask right on the back of the receiver. All right, make him feel it, because that's one of the hardest parts on your uniform, the face mask. Make the receiver feel it. Now I believe, and that's my belief, people can disagree with me, I believe as a coach, it is our responsibility to not coach that anymore, because within the rules it says that we shouldn't do that. And second of all, it's also for the health of our players, and if we want to continue having good players, we got to keep them healthy. So working through that, coming high on this one here, all right, still giving us a chance also to get to the ball. Another profile tackle here. On this one is in a little bit more space, all right, gives us a chance. It's a smaller receiver in this situation, all right, working up through him, driving him back, giving us a chance to get to the ball carrier. There's one from the tight view, right here. Like I said, a lot of defensive linemen, you saw all these profile tackles were from the defensive line or from the linebackers. They happen in less space, and you can see this is a defensive lineman on a screen coming through. All right, didn't have a chance anymore to get really low. Still trying to get same foot, same shoulder down. It's still a right foot, right shoulder tackle, or right pec, I should rather say. Getting contact, getting the guy down on that. Compression tackle. Compression tackle is the one where, and all of you probably do that drill, people call it trap the mouse, however you want to call that. You got one runner, two tacklers coming from different leverage points. One has inside leverage, one has outside leverage, and attacking the runner, attacking your hip. And I think that's the tackle that really sold us as a coaching staff at Platteville, that we said, well, we cannot talk about getting the head across. If that TV stand right now is the runner, and I'd have another tackler over there, if both of us work to get to the runner, and we say, get your head across, well, I'm getting my head across to this side, the tackler from that side is going to get the head across to that side. Well, we're going to collide right here. That's not good. Definitely not healthy for us. And really, are we going to make the tackle? Probably not. And then who has cutback? That's what we then really said, well, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. And we said, a lot of times, why? Well, we could, in this scenario, we could change our tackling approach. Well, then we got to teach two different things. Time is always the limiting factor. If I can teach the same thing over and over again, it's just a different situation. That makes it a lot less teaching time for me. So that's what we definitely go to, near foot, near shoulder. And then working with this, we also, when we do the compression tackling drill, like I said, trap the mouse, however you do that, we do it 10 yards apart, 7 yards apart. We don't make any true contact. If a guy cuts back, we'll straighten up. But then we also do it from different angles because most compression tackles don't happen from that true 10 yards, 7 yards apart. One guy's always a little lower, angles are a little different. So we'll adjust those angles in our practices, in our tackling circuit, going through that. I think we got to go tight view here. So here you'll have a compression tackle between number 49 and between AJ and Tony coming out here. All right, both stay near foot, near shoulder. All right, you see AJ's on him first. Both guys, both helmets are on the outside. Okay, we didn't hit the hip properly, perfectly. That's why he's a freaking beast anyway. That's why he's falling forward. I'm glad. Maybe he's coming back. I hope not. Are you guys getting him in Hildesheim? They're not saying, right? They're not saying. Okay, all right. Yeah, he's coming back to Dresden, by the way. I should say that. No, so if we get truly to the hip, and then it becomes a hawk tackle from both sides, then we would be able to drive him back, and he'd fall backwards, most likely. Having another compression tackle here on the outside. Right, not a perfect tackle. We're hesitant a little bit too much. I talked about the shimmy, getting to the ball carrier quicker. If you see the inside player here right now doesn't have the proper foot forward, should be near leg, near shoulder. He should have his left foot forward, and he should press that, reduce the speed a lot, reduce the space a lot faster to get to the runner here. But then it becomes a compression tackle, and nobody's head is involved with this one here. Got another one. Coming up on the quarterback. All right, we're forcing cutback here. Not perfect position, not under control. Right, but now this is the compression tackle situation again. That you got near foot, near shoulder. On both sides, he cuts back a little bit. That's where we're getting the helmet. Almost getting the helmet involved in that. Here on the outside, all right, this is a bad angle by the inside tackler on this situation. If you look at that angle coming upfield, he should just press the near shoulder, near hip. Needs to trust his guy. Outside, we're okay. Not the proper shimmy. But with a bad angle, that's where we're giving up the inside. That inside cut back should not be allowed by the inside runner or by the inside tackler if he presses the proper hip. That's why it's so crucial that we get to the right hip on that one. This one here, we're seeing again a bad angle. Outside, we're coming, this is good footwork right here by our corner. All right, the inside tackler is coming flat, got the wrong foot forward. Should be a left foot, left shoulder tackle. Because he doesn't have that forward, we allow the cut back and we don't finish the tackle in that scenario. So those are, and this would be again a drill that where we come from different angles. Those are all situations that we want to simulate in practice. Roll tackle is the tackle that if you don't have a chance to really shimmy, if you have a bigger defender at times, or you're coming in with more speed. Some people call it the gator roll or so. We used to practice that with just dummies that we pulled. Now that we have the tackling tubes, it's really, really good that you can work on those roll tackles. And it's the squeeze and roll denying the forward movement by the runner on that scenario. You'll see one here by one of our outside backers coming in, making a tackle. Couldn't get his feet really underneath himself, but still working on the roll, getting around and squeezing. In the end here, this is a good squeeze on the knees, getting the roll, getting the runner down in that scenario. There's another roll tackle right here by AJ. Quarterback's trying to escape. Okay, he still gets his big old paws around that guy and starts to roll, trying to get him down, changing the force that we're using to get the runner down. In this one here, you'll see by our defensive lineman, right there you see a nice squeeze in the end. Squeeze and roll, he's too high, he can't stop the momentum of the running back. Couldn't get his shoulder really and his foot properly underneath himself because he's getting washed down, but good roll in the end, denying the runner to move forward. I think this is the last one here on this. Here's a roll on the quarterback. Again, I said it's a lot of speed. A lot of times with speed, not getting the proper feet underneath yourself. But the thing for us is what we don't want to do, and you saw that here, we don't want to lunge at the guy. We don't want to jump. We don't want to leave our feet on that one. We're still running, and that's the thing with tackling drills on that. Forcing, in drills it's a lot of times hard, and people want to be, the players want to be lazy. When they come in, they start to roll right away. And we really stress that when you're going to roll, take that one extra step to get more power through the runner. Don't lunge, don't fly, don't dive or anything, and start rolling nose. Still get that front foot forward, making proper contact, and if you can, drive another foot through the runner before or while you're rolling. Don't have dead feet, still continue on the roll with moving your feet. Sweep, I think we only got 2 tackles of those in here. That you saw that, for example, in the Super Bowl. Nick Bosa was trying to get Mahomes when he was running out. He was trying to sweep the ankle and just missed him by that much. And unfortunately, the Chiefs won then. But this is the sweep tackle inside here. This is the ankle tackle. That's the one that you dive the shoelace tackle, however you want to call that. Trying to get, if you can, get to the far leg. Always we talk about getting to the far leg, not the near leg on that one, because if we get to the far leg, we'll hit the near leg. But as an aiming point, if we just talk about near leg, a lot of guys are going to be short on that and get lazy. That's what we talk about, getting to the far leg, getting to the far leg, and eventually they should be able to get there. Getting the guy down, if we can hold on to it, great. If we can't, then we'll just try to hit that far leg, and by that, we'll probably get one of the legs tangled up, one of the feet. Right here, trying to get in, getting him tangled up, while he's still at a blocker on himself, getting the guy down. I think, yeah, this is probably the last one here on this. On this one here, with the linebacker coming from far away, still have to get the guy down. So now you want to get to the ankle, and eventually that can become a roll tackle on that. Attacking the quarterback, tackling the ball. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of good clips of that because we suck at that. Pretty easy. And I'm in charge of coaching tackling on that, so I guess I suck as a coach. But we're not good at that. We don't understand how to tackle the ball. Our guys, unfortunately, at this point, still don't understand. I don't care. I want to hit the quarterback. On every play that we can, I want to hit the quarterback as much as we can, as hard as we can, in a legal way. I want that quarterback at the end of the game, at halftime already, he says, whoa, this sucks. All right, but it's more important for me to get the ball. The number one thing for a pass rusher for me is get the ball. If you can't get the ball, pressure the quarterback. Force a back throw. If you can't do that, all right, now hit the quarterback and get him down. Now, if we can do all 3 together, perfect. Now we're golden because we put the quarterback into the ground and life is good. But we just don't do it very well. We got to practice it more. We got to find better ways of practicing that. But I want to show that right here. When we're coming in right here, right now, we want to tackle the ball. We want to get to the hand of the quarterback so that he cannot throw the ball. The quarterback is very vulnerable in that situation to lose the ball. That's why we're trying to attack the ball, the tomahawk. If we're coming from backside, near side, we want to come with hands up and not hit the helmet. We had that too. We had a young, we always taught, hey, come top down on the quarterback. All right, but you can't hit him on the head. Well, he was a young guy, didn't know that. First time he got to the quarterback, he was so excited in the game, hit the quarterback. Well, 15-yard penalty, and they got a first down. He could have had an amazing play, but he just didn't think in that scenario. Next one here, this is a perfect situation to tackle the ball. Don't be lazy right now. Don't be lazy and tackle the quarterback because you don't want to take another 2 or 3 steps. This is a kid right here is one of the fastest players that we have on the field. He's faster than that quarterback. If he takes 2 more steps and tomahawks the ball or the passing hand first, we get a chance. Right now, this ball should be out. And if you look at him, this should be a scoop and score for us. Instead, it's a tackle for loss, right? In worst case scenario, the quarterback still throws the ball and we don't really gain anything. It's just 3rd down or 4th down in that situation. But we want to get the ball. We want to get the ball out and tackle. This is a better video right there. And you can see that right here. Take another 2 steps, get the ball out. Life is a lot better if we get the ball out with that situation. Now, strike zone. This is a part of the presentation where I don't want to judge people, because I'm going to show a couple clips from other teams, not us, where we as coaches have to find our philosophy. What do we want to coach? And I'm not going to ask or judge any coaches in here. And I know, and I've talked to a lot of those coaches that I'm showing clips in here. This is more for us as a coach's profession. And like in the US, it's like we coaches, we're all together. We're not, it's kind of like the coaches union, coaches profession, but we have to make a decision within the rules, what can we coach, what can't we coach, how do we change certain things, do we not change or so, and everybody has to make their own decision on that. And I don't, sorry to be honest, I don't give a shit if I piss off some people with that. But for me, it's important that I feel like players are protected and that we're coaching the right thing. Now, will we see some things on film where the coaches taught the proper technique and the player didn't execute that? Yes. So I'm not saying that if we're showing some clips here in the end where players from certain teams get their head involved, that they didn't coach that properly. I'm just saying this is a coaching point that we got to make to our players, if we're serious about this, that this is not the way that it's in the rules that we can tackle anymore with that. And we can talk about that later. And really, the last part here, protect the players, that's the key point with that. So, talking about strike zone, right here, we really have to work on, as a defensive staff, and it's our responsibility to lower the strike zone. When we attack a player, when we tackle a player, I know as soon as you're a runner, you're not a defenseless player anymore, and you can attack him high. However, it's still safer for especially our defensive players, if we do not hit him with the head, and it's safer for the offensive player if we tackle lower. Plus, a lot of times we get a lot better tackle if we lower the strike zone and make sure that we do not get a targeting call right here. Here, this is a point right there. Runner's coming down with his head. If there would be helmet-to-helmet contact, this would be legal because the runner is not defenseless in that scenario unless you lunge or strike with the crown of your helmet and all that. But for me, it's important that we're working on lowering the strike zone, not even trying to get to the helmet area, but trying to get lower on that. And you can still make a proper tackle in this here. This is going to be one where I feel like we're really, really close on the strike zone. On that one, I think probably our defender should have lowered that strike zone by about this much. When I talk about the strike zone, I always talk about shoulder, below the shoulder, chest area. That's the strike zone. If the defender catches the ball, if I can get in there, now it's going to be hard for him to catch the ball, or lower. But that's the strike zone. But I have to understand that the receiver will lower the strike zone as well. And it is the job of the defender to adjust to the receiver. That's what the rules are there for. And I think this is close. All right, close, but I feel like we're not making contact with the helmet. It's close. And that's one where I will, and we talked about that with that player, that we use that type of clip and say, hey, we got to be able to lower the strike zone so that, because the bottom line is if you get hit with a targeting, you're out. And if that's, again, your best player, he's not playing the next game. Here, taller DB against the shorter wide receiver, so I gotta be able to lower the strike zone on this one. Had he hit the helmet, it's not a defenseless player because he caught the ball, moving forward, but the better tackle is lowering the strike zone, getting to the receiver. This one here, this is a targeting. All right, this is a targeting call, got called. Of course, I was pissed. I was pissed about that game for numerous reasons, but the receiver, and I just sat down, this clip was sent in, was reviewed. I talked to a couple people, a couple refs on that, but the issue here is receiver has not caught the ball. He is a defenseless player. There's contact to the head to neck area, all right? And it's a targeting in this scenario. Our player got kicked out of the game, was late in the game, 50-yard penalty. And you see right there, had he lowered the strike zone, he'd still be playing, so to speak. All right. Had the receiver caught the ball, probably the refs would not have called a targeting, because the receiver, if he had ample time to catch the ball and become a non-defenseless player, if that word exists, again. But to be on the safe side for us defensive coaches, just lower the strike zone and you're in good shape. You gotta love the sideline reaction. This one here is, and again, I'm not gonna judge that here, but it's just that, and I know Thomas, and we have talked about this play, and a lot of coaches have talked about that play, and I'm not using this play to say anything about a certain player. I'm using this play to coach, and I've used this tape here to coach our players, and not picking a certain player here, but say this is something that you just have to do a little differently. If Gomez here just puts his head a little further to the outside, all right? Now, I'm also saying this happened to everybody in here. To everybody in here. Every defensive coach had this situation before. So let's not judge number 2 here on the film. Let's talk about us coaches. How can we tell that player, hey, next time all you got to do is lower your strike zone, take a half a step to the side, and this is a clean hit. Because we want those hits, right? Who's that? Is it Ari right there? I want that dude hit as much as we can, because he's not going to catch a ball then. But we got to be able to do that. Now, the hard thing for the defensive players, of course, do that in a split second. That's the tough thing. But that's where we need to coach, and we need to do a good job of continuing to educate our players to get that going. Last one here, all right? A lot of you have seen that clip too, and I know I watched this live with the live feed, and I know Troy was talking to his dude on the sideline and all that. It was right here, quarterback in this scenario is a defenseless player, okay? Hit to the head neck area. All you got to do as a defender is lower your strike zone, and you're in great shape. And that quarterback still will have you on his chest. Okay, and that's, I just want to be, I think sometimes we got to be controversial and got to point things out for us to reflect and talk about that, and then we can have a good discussion. We can have, at times we have to agree to disagree, but for me, I always put the safety of our players first, and want to make sure that that we as a profession here in Germany continue to grow and educate our players about that. Thanks a lot for listening. You guys have a fabulous day and a nice trip home.